First of all, thank you everyone for joining. I'm very excited to talk about this new software that SKF acquired that only expands our offerings when it comes to software systems within SKF that are already great and functional for reliability within SKF solutions. So what are we going to cover today? What's our agenda? So what is operator-driven reliability? Obviously, I'll introduce GoPlant. Basically, the current state of what paper rounds could possibly look for you and what could possibly happen using them. I'm going to go over how GoPlan actually works, and I will be able to demonstrate a round for GoPlan on my phone. And as well, we'll run a little bit of reporting so you can see the functionality when it comes to manager views. What is ODR? ODR is an operator driven digital round. So, what that means is basically you're collecting data on your phone versus paper and pen. So, it takes a little bit of error out of the equation, a little bit faster and easier for your operators and maintenance team to use. On top of that, you also have task management that goes along with it. Obviously, you're collecting the data and you'll be able to use reporting when it comes to the data that you collected. So, what is GoPlant? GoPlant is an ODR software that SKF acquired in late 2019. We just actually launched it within Canada on September 1st, but this has been around since 2003. So this isn't a new software that SKF just invented. It's not a pilot program, anything like that. This is something that's tried, tested, and true in North America, and we have multiple sites using it across Canada as well as United States. So who can use it? I just put endless possibilities because once you see how easy it is to customize, anywhere in a plant, you can really use it when it comes to health and safety, comes to operators, comes to maintenance team, comes to security. Anyone who needs to fill out something and you need to have a record of it, GoPlant is an awesome fit for that. So, like I said, we have lots of customers across North America. This just gives a snapshot of who is currently using it. And like I said, that's just a little snapshot. We have about 60 to 70 current sites right now across North America. So, talking about current state, if you're currently using paper log sheets, this is probably what you're looking at. So, it looks a little busy, looks a little messy. So, what can happen when you're using paper data like this? You know, someone could read something wrong, someone could input something incorrectly. It creates a lot of uncertainty when it comes to doing the rounds, and that could cause issues later on, especially when you're dealing with critical assets on your plant. So from there, once you collect the data in your paper rounds, typically one of two things happen. So either it gets filed into a filing system or it gets updated to a plant historian. Now, if you're filing in the filing system, what happens is you're spending time putting in the file. And so let's say someone needs that information and goes to find it and they take it out and maybe don't put it back. And then someone else goes into the filing cabinet and it's missing. Multiple people may need access to similar information. And this is where some issues can arise and possibly some information that should have been given to the proper people wasn't relayed just because they file it somewhere and now it's gone. So on the other side of that, there's the manually transcribing into a plant historian, which is like an SAP, like a CMMS system. Mistakes can be made. The inputting could be incorrect. There's little human errors that can happen when you're doing it this way. We think that GoPlant is possibly a better way for this to work. When you're using your handheld device, so either iPhone, tablet, Samsung, whatever it is that you use, it is an app based program. Everything that you input in the round, which I'll be demoing in a little bit, it will automatically be uploaded to GoPlant. You'll be able to run reports, charts. Let's say there's something that's outside an acceptable temperature, tolerance, pressure, whatever it is. An automatic email can be sent to the foreman who's in charge, and they need to action it right away. The information is instantaneous versus an operator filling out paper and then filing it and letting someone know this. If it's a critical asset and you want to have eyes on it immediately, this will let you do that. From there, when you're running those reports and charts, you're also able to export the data as well into PDF, Excel, whatever it is you prefer to work with. On top of that, when you're doing all these rounds, it will automatically be updated into your CMMS system. So you'll be able to create an external tag from, let's say, your SAP, and it will upload that information into your SAP document as well. So you'll be able to create work orders off of that. Like I just mentioned before, we deal with all types of CMMS systems. There hasn't been something we've come across that we've said, no, we can't create an external tag and GoPlant can't talk to. We just have to find a way for it to work. So SAP, Maximo, Honeywell, all those big names we work with all the time, and there's no big deal to get GoPlant talking to them. So as I mentioned before, it's a cross-platform, so you can work on tablet, phone, iOS, Android, Windows 10, whatever it is that works best for you on your in your plant is totally up to you on how you want to use it. I'm not one for PowerPoint, so that's all the PowerPoint I have. We're actually going to go straight into the demo so you guys can see how easy it is to use. And this is the main screen that your operators, maintenance team, whoever it is, will see when they log into their GoPlan on their app. So there's four main areas. So tasks, rounds, drafts, and assets. I'll briefly explain the difference between a task and a round. So task basically is something that needs to be done in a timely manner and can have a reoccurrence and it needs a due date. So let's say every Friday you have to do a health and safety check somewhere and you have this certain person do it. You can make that reoccur every Friday. They have to go do this task. So right now I have a task due because you can see that one with the little red circle. So just tap on my task and we can view what it is. So it's saying Erica's task and it's 22 hours overdue. So I need to complete that. So the top right-hand corner is a green Wi-Fi symbol. So this can work in a no Wi-Fi, no data zone. It will just be grayed out. So I'm just going to tap on that so you can see what it looks like. You're collecting all your information in your rounds. Let's say you get back into the Wi-Fi area. You're going to tap back onto that Wi-Fi and it automatically links to the server and it loads all the information that you just collected. So in the drafts area, pretty self-explanatory. This pretty much means if, let's say, someone was in the middle of doing their rounds and they got called to an emergency, they had to go home sick, whatever it may be, they would have saved the work they did and would have left the round. So from there, anybody who has access to that round, they will actually be able to continue where they left off and continue the round on. So the first person who started the round, everything will be tagged to their employee number, their date and time stamps, everything like that. And then the person who takes it on from there, it'll be their employee name and their date stamps that are being completed. So this really, it shows that employees are accountable for what they're doing because everything's tagged to them. So then assets, this is basically, I'm just going to tap on that so you can see what it looks like. These are all just the different assets that are within the plant and just information that's in there so we can go into boiler feed pump. It just shows where it is, what it is, and look at that, the status is under repair. So this is all information that you'd be entering when you're actually managing it on the manager side. But let's say you have a new employee and they don't know where things are, they could look this up when they're doing a round. So I'm going to hit done. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes and go to the rounds. So I'm just going to tap on rounds and we're going to go to outside plant round. Okay, so you can see that there are two different drafts started in morning shift and day shift. So I'm going to tap on the morning shift and it gives me the option. Do you want to resume the draft that's already started or are we going to do a new one? So I'm going to click or tap on create new round. So bring your attention to the top right-hand corner. There's a 6 with an empty box. So that means we have 6 different forms. I'm just going to scroll through here so you can see what I mean, that we have to complete. And as we complete them, there will be a 1, 2, 3, 4 beside that check mark box. And obviously that little pencil there is a draft, so that means you're in process of doing it. Okay, so I'm going to get into this so you can see how this is done. So we're going to go to heat exchanger. All right. So just to give you a little bit of background here, you can see that the inlet temperature was 650 the last time it was taken. Let's say the operator wants to see what it was doing for the last few times. I'm going to hit that green bar graph and it loads a chart for me. So you can see the values that have been taken. And as I click on, it will let me know what the values were. And let's say I just want the actual values. I don't want to see that chart. I'm going to click the bottom here on that graph. And there's all the values that were taken the last 10 readings. So it gives a little bit of a trend and a background of the operator on maybe a critical asset that you want to keep an eye on, and you can see what it's actually been doing. So I'm just going to hit done. It says there's a minimum and maximum value. This means that you can't enter any value outside that range. But there's something that says acceptable range. So 450 to 600. So it can't be, if it's above 600, let's see what happens. 650, boom. Contact control room. This can be customized to whatever you want to happen. This can be an email alert sent to a certain person, foreman, generic inbox for maintenance, whatever it might be, because maybe you need to create a work order. But it instantaneously lets someone know that there's an issue and it's outside of that acceptable range for this asset. So if I were to enter all of these outside the acceptable range, that would pop up. But just so you guys know, totally customizable for what you'd want. So we're just going to stay within the range. I'm going to go 500 and we're going to go 50 and 50 again. Okay. So any leaks, corrosion, or other physical damage. If I say no, I can just continue. If I say yes, pops up saying take a picture of the issue. So I'm going to take a picture of the pulse and use photo. So again, this can be customized however you want. If you need a picture of the issue and then a picture of the tag on the motor or whatever asset you're working on, totally up to you. It's customizable however you'd like. Okay. And so heat exchanger, is it in good condition? Yes, no. If it's yes, you can move on and commit. If no, you just have to enter some comments. So we'll just say test. So bottom right hand corner, we're going to hit commit. And that is our first form complete out of a round. So you'll see at the top right-hand corner, there's one complete and 5 forms left to go. So I'm going to tap on the fire extinguisher and I just want to bring your attention to the top and see what happens here. So it says asset scan required. So reason being, you actually need a QR code in order to get into this asset. So this really makes sure your employees are in front of the asset they need to be working on. So I'm just going to tap on scan here. And let's find my QR code. And there it is. So I can get into that form. So area cleared. If no, it says clear area and contact supervisor. Again, you can say whatever you like on that. But we'll just go yes. Is there any damage? Yes or no. If it's yes, it would ask you to take a picture again. But for time's sake, we'll just say no. And then bottom right hand corner, we're going to hit commit again. All right. So we've got 4 more forms left to go. So I'm going to go on to the next one, transfer pump, motor vibration, temperature, and process form. Is pump running? Yes. Running speed will stay consistent. 1800 like before. Suction pressure, 45. Discharge pressure, 55. And oil level, we'll keep it the same there. So is mechanical seal leaking? Hopefully not. We're going to go with no. Okay, so now we're going to get in the vibration portion. So machine is operating. Yes, we already confirmed that. So now it's scanning for my pulse. So I just turned it on. It found my pulse, and now we're ready to go. So it's confirming the RPM. And again, like before, if we want to view a little bit of a trend of the readings that have happened before, I'm just going to click on that bar graph so you guys can see. So a little bit of a trend, just to give operators a little bit of background on what's going on. Obviously, there was a big issue on the 22nd from one to the other, but seems to plateaued a little bit, but then went back up. So this is something that's really good to keep an eye on for those critical assets and information that everybody can access. Gonna hit done. All right. So you can see on the first horizontal axis, you have that pulse there. So I'm going to go to collect data, that middle button there. So I'm just going to tap it just a little bit to give it some vibration. So overall velocity doesn't look good. Overall acceleration, it's going down, but it's still in the yellow. So that's still a little bit of a concern. And temperature has gone down, probably because the temperature in my house has gone down. So, and then we move on to the next one. So you have 5 different points you're going to be doing. So now it moves to the first vertical axis. You can see that pulse on the top there. So let's say we can't do this reading for some reason. At the bottom there, you're going to go to skip measurement, and it's going to ask why you're skipping. So let's say there was no suitable surface. So we're just going to tap on that. Okay, and then we'll go on to the next one. Going to go to collect data, and I'm just going to keep it still and see what kind of difference of reading. So there was no change. So obviously that point is actually pretty good and very consistent. So it's flat line. Everything seems to be staying the same. And green is always good. Okay, and then we'll go to the next one, collect data, give it a little bit more tapping on here. Red and yellow, never good to see. And we'll go on to the next one, and we're going to skip this measurement. And let's say that there was a physical obstruction. So you at least you know why your operator isn't actually taking the information. And we're going to hit commit. Okay, so that completes that form. So I will make a note with that acceleration enveloping, the velocity being out, I automatically actually receive an email when something is wrong. So I'm going to show you that example when we get out of this. But just let you know that is another thing that could trigger if you want that email sent about this asset and it's starting to vibrate way too high, temperatures way too high, whatever it is, those alarms can be set and make sure you have eyes on it right away. So we're going to go into the eye wash station. So all aspects of equipment okay. If I hit yes, I can move on. If I hit no, these are all the different things that could possibly be an issue. So eye wash not present, obviously that's a big deal. You need it to actually use the eye wash station. So we're just going to say that's the issue so someone knows to refill it. And then you take a picture of the issue, and I'll take a picture of my desk. Use photo. All right, and is area clear of debris? If no, or sorry, if yes, and then we go to the bottom and commit. And if no, we would just have to write comments of what needs to be cleared. And we'll hit commit. All right, so you can see at the top, we've had 4 completed and 2 left to go. So we're gonna go to boiler feed pump. If it's offline, all you have to do is hit commit and then move on. If it's online, just for time, I'm just gonna show you instead of filling everything out, you just have to fill out all this information here. Just wanna make sure we cover everything. So we're gonna say it's offline and we're gonna hit commit. So we're on to the last one. So cooling tower. If it's offline, you can move on. And again, like before, if it's online, you just want to fill out all the oil levels that are labeled here. All right. And we'll go to commit. Perfect. So now before we go into the manager view and running reports and things like that, I want to show you something that customers really, really like because it helps really drive compliance and making sure things are done properly. So I'm going to go back into rounds. And we're going to go to pump changeover procedure. I'm going to tap on that. Okay, so you need to click on the PDF. So this shows you the pump changeover diagram. Okay, once you do that, we're going to hit hide. So now this is going to walk you through a step-by-step of what needs to be done when you do a pump changeover. So think of the possibilities. If someone's changing over a bearing, you could have the same sort of thing to make sure that they're following the procedure and make sure everything's done correctly. Contact control room, have them shut down primary pump A. Once that's done, hit complete. And then it loads the next steps to ensure everybody complies with what needs to be completed. Close primary pump A inlet valve, done. And you're going to close the outlet, done. And open standby pump B inlet valve once that's complete. And then again, open standby pump B valve, complete. And now it's the finish, contact control room, and have them start up pump B, complete. It shows that your employee did everything they need to do and they complied, and it holds them accountable that they're committing, saying they did everything properly. And that's it. So I'm going to get out of here and we're going to go into the manager view and run some reporting here. Oh, and I was just mentioning before, so when I had the velocity, acceleration, all the issues. This is an example of an email that is automatically sent to me when we have those issues come up. So it gives the bearing designation, what the issue is, what the readings are, and what time it was taken. So just gives you a little bit of a snapshot of what you would expect when you're getting those sort of alerts. All right. This is our manager view. So this is completely customizable to however you want to look, whatever you want to look at. Things can be moved around. You can see that there's task history of what's completed late, what's not completed, all the different things that you'd want to view as a manager or operator whenever you're going into this screen. So something customers really like is, so we're going to go into this heat exchanger. I'm going to hit play here. And this shows all the readings that have been taken. So let's say we want to just view the last couple months. These are all the readings that have been taken, and you can just shorten it down. And as you hover over, you see all the different values of all the different readings. So let's say you have a critical asset and you want to see the acceleration enveloping, the temperature, vibration reading, like something we just took, you can have that customized to be on your dashboard here right when you log into GoPlant. So that's something customers really like because especially those critical assets you want to keep an eye on, that's very important to see. So now we're going to run a few reports. So let's say we want to just see how the summary or how the rounds are going. So we're going to go into round summary view. So it just gives you a snapshot of all the rounds that have been completed, and we'll just give a little bit of timeline. So I'm going to go to outside plant round. We'll do the last 2 weeks. And so you can see here, I can hit display images. So I'll go yes. And at the bottom here, I'm just going to hit apply. There. So now we see all the different rounds that have been completed. You can see the pulse there is quite a bit. And so all the reds and yellows, those are the things that you need to look out for. Those are the issues with the assets. They're outside those acceptable ranges, or something wasn't working, or something was leaking. Those are the things that you'd want to look out for. So from here, you can actually export it to PDF, Excel, whatever it is that you may want, and then you can send it off to whoever needs to see it. Let's say that you want to see just the issues. So this is something customers really like, especially when it comes to making work orders, things like that. We're going to go into round exception view. And we're going to go back into outside plant round. And we'll hit the last 2 weeks again and apply at the bottom. All right, so a lot of red, orangey, yellow colors. So these are all the issues, and this is where the attention probably needs to be for those maintenance staff, because the operator is seeing that these are all the issues that are coming up, and this is where we need to put the attention in the future work orders. And again, this can be exported and sent to whoever needs to see it. So let's see, we want to see a little bit of the vibration readings that we were taking as well. So we can go into a spectrum report. So I'm just going to click on that here. And we'll go into the transfer pump motor and the reading that we just took. Let's take a look at that one. So this is the acceleration enveloping of that specific designation point. And then we go to the next page, and this is the velocity vibration here. So you're able to run that. You can pick the different points that you want to look at, but it's all done one by one. So let's say you want to look at a trend of the vibration or acceleration enveloping. So we're going to click on this one here and go to transfer pump motor again. And we'll pick start date of, let's say, the last 2 weeks. And we want to look at acceleration, temperature, and velocity. So that's good. And let's do the first 3 points there. And we're going to hit apply. So this gives you the trend of all the different readings that have happened. Obviously, there was a big issue on the 29th there, which was actually today when I was doing a little bit of demo beforehand. Temperature seems to be pretty consistent. Like I said, that's just the temperature of my house more than likely. And then here we are into the velocity vibration. So definitely lots of different levels. So something you definitely want to keep an eye on if this is going on with an actual asset. But again, this can be exported, sent to whoever needs to see it, or put into an Excel, and you can extract the data whichever way you want to use it. So just going to quickly go into the manager view here. Just to explain, so with GoPlant, when I started, there was about 30 different reports that generically were added into someone's system when they sign on with GoPlant. Since SKF has taken it on, we have about 60 different reports now because we felt that there were all different areas that customers may want to see of different things that they would want access to. So when it comes to breaking down by employee and what their rounds look like, task management, things like that. So that being said, there are those standard reports we have available, but if there's a custom report that you're wanting, that's definitely an option as well and something we can definitely take a look at. But there's no no's that I've ever heard. If there's something you want to see, pretty much our guys are able to help you guys out with it. So just to give you a brief overview, so these are just all the different forms that we have available that go into our round. So those are the one, two, threes that you filled out. Like when we were filling out the boiler feed pump form on what issues may be there. The reason this is good here is let's say you have 10 different motors across the plant. You only need to create one form and then attach it to those 10 different motors. So you don't need to redo the work over and over and over and over again, those 10 times. So that's really something customer likes because no one likes to duplicate their work. So when it comes to assets, this is again something customers really like. We're able to import a list from Excel. So there's not all this manual data entry because typically everybody has in an Excel spreadsheet what their assets are and a list of them. So it's a very easy import from there. So that's something that's pretty awesome. So rounds, obviously we went over what rounds were. So just go quickly into tasks, just to explain to you how they work. We're going to go to new round tasks. It's very easy to set up. So all you would have to do is name it. You would select the specific round that you want attached to it. And from there, you can either assign a person or a group of people, let's say maintenance staff, and you go to schedule. So what the deadline is, if a reminder needs to happen, and if it's reoccurring. So what's really great about this thing here is when it's a task and you assign a group of people, the task will pop up for all those, let's say, maintenance guys. Once one maintenance guy completes that task, it disappears off everybody else's Go plant and they can go about their day. So you know that someone's completed it, so everybody else is good to go. And so when it comes to users, basically it's just information that you give to us about who you'd want to be an editor, operator, reporter, and things like that. It's just different levels of access for management, operators, and different employees. And as I mentioned before, user groups, this is really great to utilize, especially with tasks. You see the operators and maintenance, one task pops up for all that group, and then it'll disappear once someone completes it. And so last thing in this area that I'm going to show, just in the max session region, it says max session is 25. You can see we have 11 active sessions. So what you do is you click on that. Let's say there was 25 active sessions and you needed to open one up. All you have to do is hit release on someone you know is not working on it. So I'm just going to release myself from the 7th and hit yes. That's all the reporting I was actually going to show you guys. That concludes my presentation. So like I said, really think about all the different ways that you could actually use GoPlant within SKF. I feel like that video really speaks to the versatility of how it can help operations, but definitely in the safety, security aspect as well. There's a use for it in pretty much anywhere you are in the plant. But if there aren't any other questions, I really hope everyone stays safe and healthy. And I wish you all a great rest of the month and hope to talk to you all soon. Thank you so much again.